everyone, Happy New Year to everybody, and since it is the last day of the year, I'm going to be giving you guys my best top 20 films of the year 2015, and I'll just say that I saw a lot of films this year, some good, some bad, but I'm going to talk about the good. I'm going to start off with my 4 honorable mentions, ones that didn't quite make the list. First up is Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Now, I actually saw this movie after doing a huge Mission Impossible movie marathon when I saw the first 4 Mission Impossible movies before seeing this one. I really enjoyed watching this movie. I think it is one of the best of that whole series, so I just really loved watching it and I can't wait to see more. Another franchise type movie that also makes my honorable mentions list is Jurassic World, which I also did a movie marathon of before seeing this Jurassic Park movie, and I feel like it, even though a lot of people said that they didn't really enjoy it that much, I saw a lot of good things that I enjoyed about this movie, so I actually give that a plus. Now, another franchise movie that made my honorable mentions list is Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2. I know a lot of people are also on the fence about this movie, though I think it was one of the strongest of the series, and even though I did love the first 2 Hunger Games movies and maybe not Mockingjay Part 1, I feel like this one definitely ended on a high note, so I really enjoyed watching this movie. My final honorable mentions movie is going to be a movie that I saw a while back called It Follows, and it was one of the most unique and interesting, so I guess you would call it a horror movie. It starred Micah Monroe, who was in some other movies that I've seen recently, and I really think that this was one of the best classified horror movies of this year, so I really like that. I'm going to get right into my number 20 of my list, and it is for Sicario, and I just really found this movie to be really interesting. I really enjoyed the huge all-star cast in this movie, and I thought it was a very interesting storyline, and it was just crazy and brutal and a very gripping story that I was engaged in while watching this movie. Number 19, I would say, goes to Steve Jobs, which starred Michael Fassbender, and though I actually enjoyed this movie much better than that Ashton Kutcher Steve Jobs movie, I really loved everything about this movie, and just the direction, the writing, the acting, it had it all there, so I was definitely sold on this movie right off the bat. Number 18 goes to a movie that I also saw very early on this year called Ex Machina, which stars a good list of actors who are now making a huge name for themselves in movies recently, especially in movies that are getting a lot of buzz, and I really like this movie because I'm also interested in sci-fi movies in general, so I just really loved the story line in this movie. Number 17, it is for Kingsman: The Secret Service. Now, this is a movie that I was almost hesitant to really truly consider a likable film, though I had seen it multiple times after I first reviewed it, and I enjoyed it definitely the second time around, and I thought it was just really clever and funny and had everything that I was really glad that I was looking to see. Number 16 is for Creed, which is a movie starring Michael B. Jordan, and he's reuniting with the Fruitvale Station director, who is also going to now be directing the future Black Panther movie, and I really loved this movie. The acting was just superb. I hadn't actually seen any of the previous Rocky movies, so now that this is actually supposed to be the 7th movie, I found to be pretty impressive, considering that Sylvester Stallone is actually really enjoyable to watch this movie and also getting a lot of awards buzz. For my number 15, it is for Furious 7, and I had also previously done a marathon. Well, I didn't actually review all these movies like I thought I did. I saw all of the Fast and Furious movies before going to see Furious 7, and this is sadly Paul Walker's last ride, so I just had to watch it, and I just enjoy it every single time that I see this movie. Number 14 is for Avengers Age of Ultron, which I know a lot of people didn't really enjoy as much as the first Avengers movie, so my opinion about this movie definitely flip-flopped with the first Avengers movie, which I didn't really care too much about, but this one I really enjoyed watching, and I actually think this is one of the best Marvel movies out there. For my number 13, another Marvel movie that I'd like to mention is Ant-Man, and I just loved this movie. I thought it was very different, straying away from seeing all of those other Avengers type movies and going into a different character's story, and I really loved Paul Rudd in this movie. I loved the comedy and everything about this movie, so I thought this was really cool. My number 12 is The Hateful Eight, which I saw, and being a Quentin Tarantino film, I thought I was not going to love this at all, but I went and saw it, and I think it is one of the best films this year, and definitely worth checking out. My number 11 is Straight Outta Compton, and I also enjoyed watching this movie, and I think it is a really underrated film, and I love the music and the storyline in this movie and also the characters. My number 10 on the list is a movie that I know a lot of people are probably going to hate me for, but I don't really care because I love this movie, and it is for 50 Shades of Grey. I read the book before going to see this movie, and I'm currently reading the sequel, 50 Shades Darker, so I went and saw this movie, and I actually wasn't disappointed completely by this movie. Yes, there were some flaws, but I still think this was a very good adaptation to the book for the most part. For my number 9, it is for Bridge of Spies, which is a Steven Spielberg directed movie starring Tom Hanks, who he is once again reuniting with. I really enjoyed the storyline of this movie and the characters, and just everything about this movie I really loved. How it was just once again another perfect collaborative film. For my number 8, it is for a film that I had actually just recently saw, but of course it had to be on my list, for The Big Short. Now this is a movie that is about the 2008 market crash, and I really loved everything about this movie, the casting, the storytelling, and even some of the comedy, so I really think this is a movie that everybody should check out. For my number 7, it is for Spotlight. I also loved the gripping storyline of this movie, where it was about this newspaper crew who are trying to uncover this thing that is going on in the church. I really think it proved that obviously they had to get this story out because stuff ended up being true. I just loved everything about this movie. For my number 6, it is for Joy, which is a movie that I wasn't actually looking forward to seeing, and I thought I was actually not going to like it because I was like, oh, it's going to be another David O. Russell, Jennifer Lawrence, Bradley Cooper collaborative movie that I feel like is going to be just completely overdone, but I was wrong, and I actually thoroughly enjoyed watching this movie all the way through. My number 5 is for a movie that I actually read the book before seeing this movie, and it is for The Martian, which is with Matt Damon on Mars. So once again, I loved a lot of things about it. Ridley Scott did a great job directing this film, and it couldn't be more perfect with everything that was going on in this movie. For my number 4 is another movie that I saw this year that's also got impressive acting, and it is for The Revenant, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. It's got some of the best cinematography and even some of the best acting I've seen. I wouldn't be surprised if Leo won an Oscar in this upcoming year. For my number 3, it is for Inside Out, which is a Disney Pixar movie that I think is one of the best, if not the best, animated films of this year, and it really hit home for me, and I really felt connected watching this film, unlike a lot of other Disney Pixar movies that have come out within these past decades. So I really enjoyed how much thought went into this movie and how just creative it was. For my number 2, it was a very tough decision, but it had to go to Mad Max Fury Road, and I'm actually really happy about that because I enjoyed watching this movie and I really can't get enough of it. I was completely blown away seeing this movie. When I first saw it in the theater, I was literally like the 3rd row from the front, and I just couldn't believe what I saw because I was not expecting anything that I saw in this film, so I just absolutely loved it even more. Now, for my number 1 movie of the year 2015, it is gonna go to Star Wars: The Force Awakens. And it is really not surprising because I really enjoyed watching this movie. If you guys haven't seen my videos, I did a review of all the previous Star Wars movies before seeing this movie, and of course I had to go all out and see this movie in IMAX 3D, which made it even better. So I was definitely impressed with everything that went on in this movie. I think J.J. Abrams did a really good job directing this film, and just seeing the original cast as well as new cast members together in this one film is just so epic. I can't wait to see it a billion times more. That is my best top 20 films of 2015. You guys can also check out my worst list of films for this year. As always, you guys can subscribe to my channel. I've got more movie reviews, movie updates, come back every week for a Child Thursday video. You guys can also like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. And I will see you guys in 2016.